everyone, John here. And before you listen to this week's show, so we were planning on doing a enhanced podcast for this one, but since I finally learned that enhanced podcasts aren't really a thing anymore, so this episode is going to be visiting the 9/11 Memorial and Museum. We were going to do an enhanced podcast where you would see the photos as we were talking about them. But since that's not a thing, we're going to be uploading all of the photos to our Facebook page. There is over 100 plus photos. So if you want to go and check those out as you're listening, or do you want to just check them out and see what the museum has to offer, I would highly suggest it. Just note that some of the subject matter is a little bit sensitive. We did the best we could to respect that. So I'm going to try and put the photos in chronological order that we took them. I know some that I took and some that Anne-Marie took, but all in all, really can't recommend this museum enough. So without any further delay, enjoy our visit to the September 11th Memorial and Museum in New York City. Welcome to Season 6, Episode 17 of the Central Florida Sights and Sounds podcast. And, of course, I'm your host, John Kriegeland. Of course, here's my wonderful wife, Anne-Marie.
Hello.
Well, we are here again in Lower Manhattan. We're just outside the September 11th Memorial and Museum. We're actually across the street from it where the Coing Sphere used to sit, or it does currently sit. But this episode is going to be a little bit different. Obviously, last week we brought you the NBC studios. This week, we're going to be bringing you the 9/11 Memorial Museum. We are going to do the best we can to describe what this experience is like. Since both Anne-Marie and I remember this vividly, both of us have been in the former World Trade Centers. If you go search through our past episodes, we talked about our experiences during September 11th, 2001. But this is going to be interesting. We already came up earlier to experience the pools, and both of us were tearing up or crying, and This will be something.
And this is my second time down here. I came up in February when I came up to New York to see Harry Potter and the Cursed Child. We did come down here, and that was the first time I saw the pools. And even though this is the second time, it was still just as difficult to see all those names and just to see everything, like how just to see the footprints of the building that was once so massive. It didn't make it any easier being here a second time, I guess, is what I'm trying to say.
But so we're preparing to head on down. A little bit earlier before this, we were up in the One World Trade Center. We went to the observatory. Interesting fact: the One World Trade is the same footprint as one of the towers. Was it 202 square feet? Something like that? Yeah. But we did shoot some video for that. We didn't do really any audio because it's more of a visual type of experience. But yeah, so we're preparing to head on down. We're gonna go binaural. You're gonna hear us walking down and head across the street. So I don't know. I don't want to say enjoy the 9/11 Memorial Museum, but enjoy appreciate what a lot of the first responders and rescuers did. So enjoy this wonderful episode, and we're gonna go binaural right now.
Let's go. It's certainly been a really wonderful day out here in Manhattan today. The weather hasn't been too hot, not too humid. It's a cool 75 degrees today, which is a lot different than we are in Central Florida.
It did rain a little earlier, but it stopped.
It stopped. Yeah, see how the water kind of cascaded? The sounds of Lower Manhattan. Alright, so now we're down to street level. And we're going to be crossing Liberty Street.
Hopefully not get hit by a truck.
And let's not get hit by a cement truck. And we are now entering the National September 11th Memorial Museum area. And as we're getting closer, you'll be able to hear the water from the pools, which have the names of all 3,000 victims. I know earlier when we were here, you even noticed it the last time you were here. So with the names, they're etched into like almost 6-inch thick plate steel or brass or something like that. But the names, what the memorial does on their birthday, they place a yellow flower in their name or a white rose in their name to help celebrate their birthday and keep their memory alive.
So we wish them happy birthday when we saw flowers.
We did. Isn't the entrance around the corner?
Entrance was there.
Oh. So now we are between the museum and what they call the oculus. They said it's supposed to look like a dove to symbolize peace. But for us, it looks like a big eyeball. But it is pure white. It looks really beautiful. We most likely will have to cut just to go through the security checkpoint, but we'll put the microphones back on and we'll continue once we're inside. So until then, we'll continue on through. Yep. All right. All right, so we're going to cut the recording here, and we're going to pick it up once we're inside the museum. All right, guys, we are back. We went through security. We passed.
Trying
Alright.
to take off his belt.
Yeah, I haven't taken off my belt. Obviously, the security is no joke here.
Allowed to take pictures, right?
Yes, we are allowed to take pictures. So they have international flags, which are behind us right here. All these, they're alas smaller versions. People from more than 90 nations were killed in the September 11th terrorist attacks. That global impact is commemorated here through a display of flags from each of those countries. The flags recall those of more than 180 United Nations member states that once hung from the mezzanine level of the original Twin Tower lobbies at the World Trade Center. Symbolizing an ideal of world peace achieved through exchange of products and ideas, as envisioned by World Trade Center architect Minoru Yamasaki, the flags held special meaning for many who worked in the towers. And now we're coming down the steps. We are flanked by these two enormous, what they call tridents. They are parts of the bottom sections of the World Trade Center. And they are huge. So I'm going to read the plaque that's right here near it. These two steel columns once formed part of the exterior structural support of the east facade of One World Trade Center, also known as the North Tower. Welded to box columns anchored at bedrock 70 feet below street level, these columns rose 5 stories above the plaza before branching into the 3 prongs that give them the name tridents. Anticipating the likelihood of a memorial museum about the September 11th attacks, staff and consultants working for the owners of the World Trade Center, the Port Authority of New York and New Jersey, painted SAVE on these tridents during the post 9/11 cleanup, designating them for preservation. You can see it, the photo from 1998.
Where it has that thing that we took.
Yep. Wow.
Oh, there it is.
Save. Wow.
See it? It's very, very faded, but you can see it.
You can see it. Alright, so now we are coming down into the bottom sections of the museum. Wow. It's weird to stand right here next to them. Save. This is all the aluminum cladding as well. A layer of aluminum covered each structural steel column that formed the facade of the Twin Towers. The aluminum alloy was created specifically for the World Trade Center and gave the buildings a unique reflective surface. Thin and lightweight, most of the aluminum cladding separated from the steel during the collapse of the buildings on September 11, 2001. Also interesting fact, my grandfather, my dad's dad, and my dad's brother helped build the original World Trade Center. So for them, that was personal meaning as well. And then, of course, you could see where the sphere was.
How that did
survive.
survive as much as it did. You know, like,
Yeah.
I mean, it's damaged, but it's pretty just cosmetic
Yeah.
damages. You know, like
Yes, it was later removed from the site and relocated in March of 2002 to Battery Park south of the World Trade Center site as a temporary memorial to the victims of the attacks and a symbol of New York City's resilient spirit. The Sphere creator, sculptor Fritz Koing, traveled to New York from his home in Germany to aid in installing the massive metal sculpture in Battery Park.
I think it's
And it's funny because it was moved there maybe a week before I came back to New York in March of '02.
I find it interesting how that aluminum that we were talking about over there, like that was still standing.
Yep.
And I mean, aluminum's not exactly the most
Strong.
strong
Yeah.
of metals.
Because you could see it was blowing off on these
Yeah.
sections here. But yeah, look at just the tridents that are still here. All
It's
right.
amazing how tall they were.
Yeah, they are very tall. I was able to get it. So I guess we start here. Do we get like a map or something? Let's see if there's a map. Do you guys have like a map at all?
Yeah, right
Oh wait, there they are. Sorry, so sorry. Yep. Okay. And there is the original model for the sphere.
Do not touch. It says, please do not touch. Please do not touch.
The model.
I don't think you're supposed to touch anything.
Oh, for love of Pete. Yeah, so you can see where the sphere was. And then, so here's the north and south, and then there's World Trade Center 5, which collapsed due to the fire.
This is about a year before. It's 2000.
Yeah. And then this was back in 1990. And the little sphere that's on there is a 1/12 scale model of the sphere that's actually outside. And it was installed back in 71. The sculpture was then relocated in 2017 to Liberty Park just south of the new World Trade Center. Where it sits today. And with that, we are starting. We're starting about 8:30 a.m. September 11, 2001.
Crystal clear blue day.
Tuesday morning.
Was that actually like a photo from like that time?
It is.
I just couldn't let my hair out. How can anyone do this? In college, I used to super Times Square. São Paulo do Brasil. Estava em Miami, Florida. We were actually in a meeting and someone barged in and said, "Oh my God, goodness crashed into the World Trade Center."
When I heard it over the radio,
So I switched on television.
the Twin Towers.
And we saw the second plane crash.
All of a sudden, I thought we were watching like a replay of it.
The fire and smoke rolling into the air.
Oh, this is really happening on TV. It was in real time. We all saw it
I
live.
couldn't believe that I was watching this live on the web. I was so angry.
So blown away. I felt so alone and lost.
The first thing I thought of was my parents. I wanted to talk to the people that I loved the most.
So I started to call friends. But you can't get through all this because they're busy.
You couldn't get anywhere on the internet with those jams, so many people were trying to get on.
I think everybody, as I did, knew that we were under attack.
The train stopped running.
It was just as if time stopped. So,
Where's the world gonna go? What's gonna happen next?
Basically, it's just,
September
you know,
11th, 2001. I'll never
where
forget.
everyone was. Like, you never forget who you were. That's kind of other people's stories.
I was driving to work at 5:45 in the night.
You know, people were somewhere and
It was 3 p.m. Norwegian time.
Right now they're scrolling through photos that I'm assuming were pretty much in the immediate aftermath of the first.
yeah, the utter shock.
And everybody just kind of has that what just happened.
Yeah. So basically,
Picture just scrolled by and it was a guy, but in the background there was a poster for Apocalypse Now, which honestly is what it felt like.
yeah. So this section that you call that doesn't have any real audio or anything. It's called Witness, and it says thousands of people directly witnessed the attacks on the World Trade Center and the Pentagon. Whether running from danger or at a distance, many on the streets felt compelled to stop, unable to avert their eyes from the unfolding scenes of horror. And there's a lot of photos that were submitted. I think it was a lot of disbelief. And now from there we are heading down into what is Ground Zero. And I'm already seeing the retaining wall. Or they call it the slurry wall that holds back the Hudson River. And this is one of the signs from World Trade Center. So back in the 60s when they were building the Twin Towers, they had to build below street level, and they installed the slurry wall to hold back water from flooding inside the construction site.
Does
So-
it still do that?
It's still doing that today. So when the Twin Towers fell, it damaged, like, they were worried that it would damage part of the slurry wall, but it stayed, it held. And so now they
Because if
preserved it.
if this had been broken, essentially the
This-
entire lower
this-
Manhattan could have gotten flooded.
Yeah, well, the construction site would have been completely
but I mean, if it had
flooded.
broken in 2001.
Yeah, that whole
like-
site would have been flooded. But they've preserved it. That's what if you notice, there's a draining pipe at the bottom. So any water that does come in does exit. It's weird, it hasn't hit me yet, but I feel like it's going to. August of 2001. The height of the Twin Towers, soaring more than a quarter-mile skyward, prompted many to try to capture their monumental scale in printed photographs and moving imagery. That's the dedication pedestal. So this was done during the dedication on April 4th, 1973.
Again, it's something that is kind of amazing that this. I mean, it's cosmetically damaged, but it's still here.
It's still here.
You know,
It says,
I'm gonna read what it says.
the plaque has been placed by the Commissioners of the Port Authority of New York and New Jersey in commemoration of the skill and industry of the thousands of construction workers and Port Authority personnel whose efforts created the World Trade Center, dedicated on this day, April 4th, 1973.
And it began construction on August 5th, 1966. So it took quite a while to build.
Yeah, just look at the dent there.
But I mean, the fact that it did survive, you know, that's pretty amazing. That I mean, it's literally just cosmetically damaged.
Yeah. And these are sections of steel facade from the North Tower, floors 96 through 99. This piece of steel, once part of the north facade of the North Tower, was located at the point of impact where hijacked Flight 11 pierced the building at the 93rd through 99th floors.
When you look at it,
Here, I'm gonna get on the other side here.
when you're looking at it, just these steel girders are
Huge.
strong.
Yeah.
You know, I mean, they're strong, and just to see how twisted the heat from the jet fuel
Yeah.
and whatnot just twisted the metal.
But it's interesting to see, because if you look down at the bottom, if you notice the brunt force of they're shooting inward where
But
the
look at,
impact.
like, where, like
Yeah,
that-
that's what I'm showing.
Yeah, no, like that one in the middle.
Oh yeah,
Like that one, like
it's crumpled.
it's crumpled, you know, because it got so hot.
Yeah, some of the I-beam sections are completely smushed in.
But even just like that little curve right there,
Mhm.
like how hot the metal has to be
To do that.
you know, and how strong these pieces of steel are.
Yeah.
You know, and it's just amazing that the building got that hot. You know, that it could just twist this metal.
Oh yeah. View from New Jersey's from Jersey City. And then we're seeing all of the missing posters. Every person that was missing. The area between where you are standing and the structure opposite you is the approximate location of the epicenter of the February 26, 1990 bomb blast on the B2 level of the World Trade Center parking garage. Islamic terrorists back in '93 loaded with approximately 1,200 pounds of explosives drove into the public parking garage beneath the World Trade Center. They escaped in a waiting car before the bomb exploded at 12:18 p.m. The blast killed 6 adults, including a pregnant woman. More than 1,000 building occupants and emergency responders were injured, but the terrorist mission to topple the buildings failed. And that was that. That was the
There's a photo of police officers.
And basically a big crater. So the area between where we're standing and opposite you.
So this right here.
This area kind of right here. Wow.
Must have been so scary to not know where your family, your friend was.
Yeah.
You know.
All of the missing
I mean,
flyers.
a lot of them were they're handwritten.
Yeah.
Like, you know, probably in a panic, trying to find a photo. And
So the plaque says missing posters here. In the days following 9/11, relatives and friends of those who had not returned home from the World Trade Center posted missing person flyers at hospitals, family assistance centers, and public places throughout the city. As hope for survivors faded, the missing posters themselves became memorials. And there's a leaf that, when placed next to a name, the leaf icon signifies individuals killed as a result of the September 11th attacks of 2001 and February 26, 1993. The shape corresponds to the leaves of the swamp white oak trees on the memorial.
it's like this.
I don't know if it's this or just in general. Oh, the survivor stairs. The staircase once connected the northern edge of the World Trade Center's Austin J. Tubin Plaza on the Vesey Street sidewalk below. On September 11, 2001, the stairs and the adjacent escalator provided an unobstructed exit for hundreds seeking to escape. To reach the stairs, many had to cross the plaza beneath the treacherous debris falling from the North Tower.
This is what the police officer said.
Go down these set of stairs and then just run. Run as fast as you can. That's what he said to evacuees. So we're going to head down the escalator.
There's something over here.
Is there something over here? There is indeed something over here.
Listen up.
Your location relative to the current site. And your location relative to the original World Trade Center site. Yeah, so you had
So we're
World
kind
Trade
of in the
6,
middle.
5, 4, 3, and then 2 and 1, and then you had World Trade Center 7. I said 5, I meant 7. So yeah, we're kind of smack dab in the middle. This art installation, created in 2014, is composed of 2,983 individual watercolor drawings, each a distinct attempt by the artist to remember the color of the sky on the morning of September 11th, 2001. Commemorating the people killed in the attacks of September 11th, 2001 and February 26, 1993, every square is a unique shade of blue, combining to create a panoramic mosaic of color. Finch's work centers on the idea of memory. What one person perceives as blue might not be the same as what another person sees, yet our memories, just like our perception of color, share a common reference. And the quote that is in there says, "No day shall erase you from the memory of time." The quotation from book 9 of the...
It's in a Roman numeral, just FYI. He knows his numbers.
Yeah, sorry. It's a Roman poet, Virgil. Suggests that the transformative potential of remembrance. The same idea is expressed in each of the letters, which have been forged from pieces of recovered World Trade Center steel by New Mexico artist Tom Joyce. Originally trained as a blacksmith, Joyce was invited to harness the transformative process that occurs when iron is touched by fire. He took wounded remnant steel made of iron and carbon and forged it by heating and folding into letters of hope and beauty. The result reminds us that Virgil's words are not just a statement, they are a promise. So right now we would have been in the level B3 if we were still in the original World Trade Center. So we're gonna head down the stairs and we're gonna pass by the survivor stairs. And these are the survivor stairs right here. This plaque says the same thing as we read upstairs. But these are the actual stairs.
Please do not touch the artifact.
Is that what's it?
It says it on the
Oh.
wall. Because,
You can literally reach over and touch it.
It goes from distinct stairs
To just this crumbling mass that looks like stairs.
Like, they look like the remnants of stairs.
Yes.
Oh, because it's different.
Oh, wow. The Vessel Street stairs, located on the northernmost edge of the World Trade Center Plaza, withstood the collapse of 9/11. Most of the damage now visible was inflicted during the cleanup operations, which included demolition of the adjacent escalators and what remained of two nearby buildings, World Trade Center 5 and 6. The stairs were slated for destruction until a federal review process involving preservationists, survivors, and other advocates eventually assured that these symbolic remnants, now known as the survivor stairs, would be saved. And you can see them November 15th, 2001.
So basically, when the escalators got destroyed, these kind of got destroyed in the process.
A little bit, yeah. So now, yeah. Actually, as we're walking over here, this whole outline represents the outline of the building, because as you see on the ground here, these are the footprints of the building. These steel squares. Reposed behind this wall are the remains of many who perished at the World Trade Center site on September 11th, 2001. Yeah, we can go in this one.
So this is the original footprint?
These are the original foundations.
And my father, John Grazioso, cousin, Stephen J. Fiorelli. And my father, Stephen Lewis Roach.
My brother, Thomas Michael Butler.
And my husband, Stephen J. Weinberg.
And my grandfather, Cecil.
So these are the box column remnants. Steel columns known as box columns for their rectangular shape and hollow center provide steel support for the twin towers and created their distinctive facades. At the end of the recovery period following 9/11, what remained of these columns was cut to a level elevation, leaving the remnants visible here. The North Tower footprint was outlined by 84, but the South Tower footprint had only 73, since pre-existing train tracks passed across its footprint. Some relatives of 9/11 victims joined with landmark preservationists to advocate that the cut-off columns be designated as historic remnants of the World Trade Center site. Wow. So we're heading into the In Memoriam Memorial Exhibition, and this exhibition honors the 2,977 individuals killed as a result of the terrorist acts of September 11, 2001, at this site, as well as the Pentagon and in Somerset County, Pennsylvania, and the 6 individuals killed in the terrorist bombing of the World Trade Center on February 26, 1993. And no photography here, but you'll be able to hear. Every year they read the names of every person that was killed.
And my brother Jimmy, James F. Murphy.
What's that? Oh, yeah.
Nathaniel Lawson.
she guided me into the family room and sat me down, looked at my cast and looked up at me and looked back down at the cast, and I got nervous. I said, oh, this kid is going to scream. She said, 1 minute, Nama, 1 minute, 1 minute. She ran upstairs, she came downstairs, and she had a Band-Aid that she put on the cast. It was just precious.
Montgomery McCullough Horde.
The golden rule, do unto others, he would always say to the children, you gotta leave a place cleaner than how you found it. It was always leaving a campsite or a picnic table, picking up a little more trash. Maybe it's not our trash, maybe it's somebody else's, but this is what we're gonna do. And he really lived by that. And he also made everybody feel special. He kept eye contact. It was always about that person at that moment. And he was known for that. He made everybody feel important. He was incredibly gracious.
Carlos Segarra.
Alan L. Wisniewski.
I just loved marine mammals since I was a little girl. So my mom and dad always supported it. They took me to SeaWorld probably when I was 12, and I did one of their first swim with the dolphin programs. And I just remember that was such a cool day, and they were both in the stands taking pictures and everything like that. And he always supported me with that. I mean, they put me into the volunteering at the local aquarium, and he always said, go for your dream, do what you want to do, and I did it. Now I'm in that business, now I'm a dolphin trainer, and I know he'd be really proud.
Carlos R. Lillo.
And I was going to school at night too. I was going for marketing at Baruch College, working full time for the Port Authority. So he would pick me up sometimes when I was tired. He would do sometimes overtime, and I would get out of school. He would wait for me around Astoria to go pick me up at Baruch on 23rd and Park. And that was the kind of person he was. He was always very concerned. He used to take care of me like a porcelain doll, and I wouldn't break and nothing would happen to me.
John Joseph Ryan.
she was terrific, and she really tried very hard. I mean, she came here from Nigeria. That's wild. And then she studied law. So, you know, she came and was working with us with accounting and mail, and it was always a nice face to see. Very friendly and a nice person to see.
That was rough. That was rough. Interesting, the spot that we were sitting in is the floor slab of the South Tower. Below the glass is a vestige of the floor slab from the South Tower's lower level. B6 has been preserved as a historic remnant of the World Trade Center. So, in here are every single person that died on September 11th. There's like literally a wall of pictures with their names underneath them, and in the center they highlight each person individually with either stories, daughter memories, or co-workers that someone that worked with, and it's people seem to sometimes forget the people. They're actual people that had lives and kids and
families, friends.
I almost lost it when I saw the wedding photo. I thought of us.
And they have the center here as well.
So
But
in
more
here,
personal items.
they refresh these regularly. This exhibit showcases a lot of their hobbies and stuff they like to do. Do you remember the Magnadoodle?
One of them
He
read-
wrote- So there's a Magnadoodle with a message from John August Santori. John Santori was a decorated FDNY firefighter who once jumped into the Hudson River to save a man's life. A talented cook, John regularly prepared lunches for his school-aged daughters and drew on their lunch bags and notes around the house. After September 11th, his family discovered one of his messages on a Magnadoodle toy in their Staten Island home. It's a note to his younger daughter, Tiana, who was 13 years old when her father was killed.
My resume.
On a floppy drive.
On a old
For floppy
3.5
disk.
3.5-inch floppy disk.
Yeah, I knew I wasn't prepared. So the plaque says, "In Memoriam was created with resources contributed by family members and friends of those killed in the attacks. Content was also provided through the Voices of September 11th 9/11 Living Memorial Project. Originally conceived by September's mission, the Story Corps September 11th initiative with support from the Lower Manhattan Development Corporation, the 9/11 Tribute Center, the New York City Fire Department, Family Assistance Unit, the New York City Police Department, and a lot of other wonderful organizations. We acknowledge with gratitude the participation of family members in providing guidance about their loved ones' representation in this installation." Yeah, so what we're hearing here
It's from the first year.
is, well, during the anniversary, the annual
Yeah.
commemoration ceremonies. Oh wait, hold on. What does it say? If you wish to record the name of someone you knew who was killed in the 9/11, please visit the recording studio.
So,
Oh, wow.
if you happen to come here and you knew somebody, you could.
You can.
That's kind of nice that it's a living memorial. Like it's constantly changing. It's not like just stagnant.
Yeah. Oh, that was. Oh boy. That was rough.
I mean, that's what. I mean, it's sad seeing a building or whatever.
But there were
ruins,
people.
But it was the people. You know, the fact that nearly 3,000 human beings died.
Yeah. So here we are coming up to a portion of the North Tower antenna. Oh, 1980. So it's literally this particular section is what this is.
I thought it was part of the jet engine. It kind of looks like an engine.
Oh, no.
Okay, but I'm not the only one.
So the oh. So of course the little plaque says, hold on, I'm going to a transmission tower approximately 360 feet tall assembled atop the roof of the North Tower began broadcasting television signals in 1980. Changes over time include the installation in 2000 of high-definition TV master antenna. Transmissions from most stations failed shortly after hijacked Flight 11 pierced the North Tower on September 11th. All transmissions ceased by 10:28 when the tower collapsed. And this is what it looked like.
They were talking about.
Yep. Wow. Oh yeah, well this is the elevator motor. Wow. Yep, I remember that. So the Twin Towers were the first skyscrapers to employ a system of local and express elevators, an innovation that reduced elevator travel time and made the buildings attractive to occupants of the upper floors. In addition to elevators serving basement levels, each tower's 99 elevators included freight, local, and high-speed express cars. 2 express cars traveled directly to the windows on the World Restaurant in the North Tower, and the 2 went to the South Tower observation deck. This elevator motor, the largest model in the world when installed, powered one of the express or service cars, which moved at a rate of 1,600 feet per minute. A total of 99 motors operated the elevator system in each tower. Wow. It just looks like this big massive motor with like it looks like a lot of like frayed noodles.
Yeah. Look at that.
Yeah, it just compressed in. Wow.
I think what's kind of scary about this too is it all kind of looks like art, you know?
Yeah. Of course, here's one of the fire trucks.
Mangled pieces of metal.
Ladder Company's 3 truck. The New York City Fire Department's Ladder 3 Company is located in the East Village neighborhood of Manhattan. On September 11, 2001, led by its highly decorated Captain Patrick Patty John Brown, the company asked the dispatcher to deploy its members to the World Trade Center disaster. After they parked the rear mount aerial ladder truck on West Street near Vesey Street, 11 members of the company, some of whom had just gone off duty after completing overnight shifts, entered the North Tower. They were among thousands of uniformed responders who collectively formed the single largest dispatch of non-military emergency personnel in the history of New York City and the nation. All 11 responding members of Ladder 3 were inside the building and killed when it collapsed at 10:28. Jeez. Yeah, so that's the front, this is the back. Yeah, the front cab of this fire truck was shorn off when the North Tower collapsed, damaging the truck beyond repair. A bumper and a door were later removed from the Reagan displayed as a memorial in Ladder Company 3's quarters on East 13th Street, Manhattan. The inscription, "Jeff, we will not forget you," was painted by a firefighter related to Jeffrey John Gordiano, a Ladder 3 Company member who was killed on September 11th. I remember watching news. They literally lowered this in from the ceiling, but like the poignant thing was like it was never going to come back out again.
Yeah.
Jeez. Oh my gosh. So here's what we were looking at before. Yeah, this is the Right here. This is from here. This is what we were seeing before. No, remember at the front entrance?
No, that's this. This is this.
Hold on.
Oh, and it breaks it.
Yeah. Hmm. Split open. So what we're looking here is the South Tower column. This column once stood in the core of the South Tower, probably between floors 30 and 33. During the tower's collapse, extreme stresses caused this multi-ton piece of steel to fold over onto itself. 3 of the 4 welds that held this column together completely split open.
Hey, it kind of looks like a 9.
Yeah.
Which, I mean, again, steel, like hard steel, and it just collapsed.
Do you want to write something? we're just writing little messages here. They give you the option to like draw.
You can use your finger.
Oh, can you?
Yeah.
Is it a little bit easier that way?
Yeah.
Should I put for my hometown? Oh, it actually will appear on the thing in a few moments. Oh, you actually put it in Florida?
Yeah.
I gotcha. So here, if we actually come over here, we'll probably see it. Where's yours? Oh, there's mine right there. I just wrote never forget September 11th, 2001, and I signed my name. It should appear around where you put your home.
Mine already went. I didn't get it in time.
Oh, you didn't?
No.
Oh, bummer. Man, look at this. Jeez. Look at that. Busted the whole seam open. This I always find fascinating. This one pane of glass from the World Trade Center did not break. So this was one of the panes of windows on the 91st floor of the North Tower. This was January 2001, this photo. But the architect was concerned that tenants and visitors to the World Trade Center might experience a fear of heights on the higher floors of the Twin Towers. To mitigate this fear while keeping a floor-to-ceiling view, he designed windows that were only 20 inches wide, approximately the shoulder width of an adult male.
When we were in One World Trade earlier today, John was saying, don't you remember how up here the windows were
so small?
So small, because the ones now are like panoramic.
Oh yeah, they're huge.
And here it is.
This is it?
You're right. I mean, they were. I mean, because if you stand, it's about.
She's saying, but if you can't hear her, she was basically saying how it's shoulder weight, and it really is. I remember being a little kid and going up to the windows and like looking straight down. So, of almost the more than 40,000 windows in the World Trade Center shattered on September 11, 2001, only one window pane from the 82nd floor of the South Tower is known to have survived intact. Jan Zumansky, superintendent for Tully Construction at Ground Zero, discovered the unbroken pane of glass still set within a fragment of the South Tower's facade that penetrated Church Street. He extradited the glass and was aided in its preservation by Joseph Karski, Tully's chief engineer, and you can actually see the pane of glass.
Oh yeah.
Right
like
in there.
Thing.
It's still intact.
Yeah, but like everything around it is all shattered.
Yep. And this was it.
It's crazy.
What do we got here? What do we got?
Oh, you listen to it like a phone.
Oh, yeah.
I remember when the top of that column surfaced, and we started moving pretty quickly at that point. You know, in other words, the ground was going lower, and this column was staying the same. And it got to a certain height, somebody put a flag on top of it, and then writing started appearing on it, and it was about half exposed, and I thought to myself, who's going to cut that down? They ended up picking 4 different trades for each of the 4 corners. And I remember when they told me that I was going to be one of the burners. It was really nice because the construction crews in general didn't really get a lot of recognition. All the construction workers filed down into the hole together. That was our night. It felt good to be a part of a recovery. That's what we were trying to do, and it felt good to actually accomplish it.
So that was a moment of recognition, and this was recorded back in 2007. Next one here is the Best of Humanity.
I was a volunteer and site supervisor with the Salvation Army. Ground Zero was such a tight-knit community, and all that work, all those months, were because we felt we had to give something back. And to have a firefighter thanking us for basically feeding them and holding their hand, just being there, I can't explain the feeling. We were so humbled. When the last beam came out, it was marking the end of what happened on 9/11. In some ways, that was the end of all hope for ever finding any remains. And I think that was very hard. It was sort of like closing history down, saying goodbye to all the people who'd formed this amazing community. From the minute we knew that that was going to be the last piece, it had a very powerful draw. And when you see the names on there and the pictures and the mass cards, the beam sort of absorbed all of that and became something more. I think it symbolizes the strength of the people from all over the world who came to help. And if you want to see the best of what humanity can do, that last beam really symbolizes that.
Next one here is Last Thing Standing.
On the morning of September 11, 2001, I saw both towers burning. I was in shock because the World Trade Center was someplace I worked for almost 35 years of my life. We first heard the rumble of the South Tower collapsing. Before you knew it, the North Tower was coming down. 2 weeks later on, I was back at the site overseeing the cleanup recovery operations, getting the site cleaned up and recovering the bodies. I think the most touching moments down there for me was if we found remains of a victim. That silence on the entire site, I mean, you wouldn't hear a pin drop. Everything stopped. The final column was one of the columns in the South Tower. Everybody was putting their names and stuff or little sayings and notes on the column. We had a flag flying on top of it, and it was the icon on the site. And to see that column cut down and taken off the site was a absolute beautiful tribute. They put the lines to it to be able to hold it and hoist it up onto the back of the flatbed and cover it with the black cloth. It was like removing another body off the site. When the site was cleared, we knew that we were finished. I credit everybody who was there who took part in this rescue recovery cleanup, from first responders to construction workers to everybody. Whether they signed the column or not, that column means something to us. We completed our job, and we did a job well done.
Number 4, we're halfway there. There's 6 of them all together. It's the closing ceremony. This was recorded by William Keegan back in 2009.
I was in charge of the actual rescue and recovery operation for the Port Authority Police Department. At the end, it was the last piece of steel coming out. I had gone down to the ground of the World Trade Center around 5 a.m. that morning to walk out behind the steel, and we walked up that bridge, and when we got up to the top, it was just a sea of people and flags and signs, and people were crying and saying thank you. And it was like New York City's way of all participating. They just wanted to jump into us, like we had all been one all along. That last piece of steel kept going to Canal Street and made the right and disappeared. And we were just left to turn around with each other and hug each other. And then the Port Authority guys came through, and then the NYPD guys came through, and then the firemen came through. It all became this family that worked together to try to make other families feel better. We knew we would never go into fill in a hole, but if we made it a little smaller, then that was all we could do.
Next one here, second to last one here, Symbol of Lost Hopes, recorded by John Ryan back in 2010.
The last column was part of the last area of the World Trade Center site that was searched. That was the last area where any chance of significant amounts of remains could be recovered. Up until that point, there was always going to be another area that was left to search, and it might contain what they hoped it would contain, their lost loved ones. When we got down to the base of the area surrounding the last beam, a lot of that hope went away. So, it come to symbolize the location where a lot of those people came to realize that their loved one was not going to be recovered. As the site was cleared and the beam came to stand alone, people that were working at the site or family members of people that were lost began affixing either photos or painting or using markers to write on the beam. It symbolized the desire to recover all of the people that were lost at the site. Also, it came to represent a cross-section of people that were there, not only the emergency services, but also the iron workers, the construction workers, the laborers. They all wrote on the beam to represent the agencies or the unions and the groups that they worked for that were critical to performing the rescue and recovery operation at the World Trade Center.
Of course, our last one here is a farewell recorded by Mark Wagner in 2010.
When I first started walking the site, late September, the site was just changing so rapidly that my typical route would be starting on West Side Highway, then make a counterclockwise loop around the site. And always by the time I got back to that starting point, it was a different site. Everything looked different. Everything was just moving so quickly. Really, my first understanding of the last column was probably mid-April of 2002, when the majority of the debris had been removed from the site. I think the decision to preserve it and officially make it the last column was an important one. I think that happened somewhat organically as the graffiti was placed on the column. It took on a significance. But this is a column that really tells the three stories: the building, the destruction, and this cleanup effort. It was one of the first columns to be erected in the buildings and then held the entire building above it. It also speaks about the destruction. The graffiti that's on the column itself has really tremendous meaning. The sheer size of it, the number of signatures, it's got the numbers of the victims, farewells, not only to lost loved ones, but also to this new family that developed on Ground Zero as everyone was cleaning up the site. You see each other every day, you become a community. I mean, this was a small city there working within this 16-acre site. So it was also a chance where people were saying goodbye to everyone, to this experience. The way this global community came together to take care of our own.
Some of those were some really nice stories there. And then here's the last column right here. And what's really cool about this is there is a digital representation of the column right here. So you can go and see certain things up close. All the way down to the lower spot.
That's cool.
Wow.
So it's a video of the column as it was getting taken out. I remember this. Girls.
It is looking at specific
markings. What's really cool, you can also rotate it as well. You can look at different faces.
I think these were some of the things on there that may have fallen off. Because there's duct tape and there's like duct tape on that. So I'm just thinking that.
Yeah, they were removed for conservation and display. Replicas have been affixed to the columns in their place. The United Airlines sticker. Wow, they found like the axe. Gosh.
Like the wrappings from flowers.
Yep.
Like obviously the flowers are long gone, but.
Wow. So here we have a tieback. Reinforcing tiebacks, each typically compromising 21 steel cables enclosed in a metal pipe were drilled into the slurry wall and down into bedrock. This section of tieback was removed from the original slurry wall during construction of the 9/11 Memorial Museum. And then this was a river water line valve. Part of the pipeline that carried water from the Hudson River to an underground refrigeration plant, this 17,800-pound valve was installed in 1993 in connection with an upgrade to the World Trade Center's air conditioning systems. The subterranean motorized valve could be closed manually for maintenance and in case of emergency. After the collapse of the Twin Towers, engineers concerned about the risk of flooding searched for the valves underneath the wreckage and closed them as a precautionary measure. And in the photo, they circle where the valves could be seen at the top of the slurry wall. This is it. Wow. Oh yeah, we did miss the jacket. So we have coins, we have jackets, we have a key to the city.
And on the front of the jacket has all kinds of patches on it.
Related to the fire departments, the rescuing, the police.
10-year anniversary.
Yep.
Department of Corrections. Interesting.
Also on the wall they have projected 9/11 and today, and they basically showcase news that is related to September 11th, and they go from 9/11 all the way up until today. Oh, well, why don't you go ahead?
So we're looking at a shirt right now worn by one of the U.S. Navy SEALs Team 6 members during the raid on Osama bin Laden's house when they
In Pakistan.
and when they got him. It's funny that's here because I have like that was one of the moments I felt like a real journalist because I was not working and my friend who was working that day calls me and she's just like, they just got Osama bin Laden, you need to come in. And so like I ran to the newsroom and we had to like tear apart the paper and redo it in like an hour.
Yeah.
Because obviously this is the biggest news that happened, and seeing that is kind of crazy, you know.
kind of comes back around.
Yeah.
In the middle here we have it's a set of coins, and numerous members of the U.S. military, intelligence, and national security communities contributed to the search for Osama bin Laden, which concluded with the killing of the Al Qaeda leader during Operation Neptune Spear. U.S. Navy SEALs brought his body to Afghanistan following the raid on his compound in Pakistan. The Central Intelligence Agency officer known to the world by the alias Maya, who had spent years searching for bin Laden's hiding place, positively identified the body. A token was later created to commemorate the operation. One side of the coin marks the U.S. Date on which the operation occurred, May 1st, 2011. The other side shows a red X mark. After 9/11, President George W. Bush kept a list on his desk of key Al Qaeda operatives still at large. Whenever one was exposed, arrested, or killed, he would make a red X mark through the assailant's name. Osama bin Laden's name was at the top of that list, and hence why that red X is on the other side of that coin.
And then there's also a brick from the compound.
Yep, elude and capture Al-Qaeda leader Osama bin Laden and his family had been living in a safe house in Pakistan for several years before he was killed in 2011. Local authorities razed the compound in February 2012. Before the complex was completely demolished, journalist Dominic Ditali chiseled a brick from the house's foundation as a souvenir. A correspondent with Fox News, then based in the capital city of Islamabad, Donati had been reporting on the war on terror and the international manhunt for bin Laden. And there is that brick right there, which is, wow, interesting. Huh. And we have some more stuff in here. This museum so far is really well done.
You always have to be careful with stuff like this.
Oh, absolutely. These are all nice little, like, pieces that commemorate September 11th. Right? Oh, it's 9/11. 9/11.
Which it's actually, when you look at it, it's, I guess you never really think about it because it's Roman numerals, but it is reversed.
Yeah, it's IXXI. The 9/11 Memorial Towers of Unity. And the memorial urn. It has literally all the names of all 2,977 victims. The text of the speech delivered by U.S. President George W. Bush on the night of the attacks winds around the urn's lid. Yep, there it is. Entrance is around this corner. Holy cow. Our location.
No, it just goes around in a circle.
Yeah, it does.
I don't think so.
Wow, look at this. It's just literally a row of steel, and you can see the little the squares where the basically the steel would come out. So quiet back here. So basically here, all the way up.
Just kind of crazy. Just continues that from this wall here. Wow. It's weird that there's like no glass or anything like that. Did you notice that? Yeah, there's no glass at all. I think it's up ahead right here. Oh, you know, because we went past this way.
Excuse me.
No.
I'm taking photos.
Sorry, I didn't see it. I apologize.
Okay? Closing in 30 minutes. Okay? So that's why I'm closing in 30.
So we'll do the best we can to describe. There's a lot of, basically a lot of, how would you describe it? Like signage, artifacts. Right in front of us here is one of the World Trade Center signs. This sign marked an entrance to One World Trade Center, also known as the North Tower, and identified one of the building's most prominent tenants, the restaurant Windows on the World. Also named on the sign is the Port Authority of New York and New Jersey, the interstate agency that created and managed the World Trade Center until July 24, 2001, when it signed a 99-year lease for the towers with Silverstein Properties. Removed and placed in storage before 9/11, the sign was spared destruction. So this is it. Of course, you have newspapers. Well, of course, this was September 11th, 2001. This is what the papers were plopped out in the morning.
No, these are the ones that were done the night before.
The night before.
Yeah. So this is what.
And there was a primary going on.
You would have been reading on the subway or whatever.
Yeah.
You know, they're just normal stories.
And baseball tickets for New Year's Yankees game. September 11th, 2000. Yep. Public school 234 calendar. So it's like leading up to it.
Well, I mean, September 10th was a normal day.
Yep. Primaries.
The mayor's schedule.
Yep.
We have a breaking story, though. We're going to come back with that in just
So this is 8:51.
As Matt just mentioned, we have a breaking news story to tell you about. Apparently, a plane has just crashed into the World Trade Center here in New York City. It happened just a few moments ago, apparently. We have very little information available.
Yeah, airplane fragments were seen on the streets in the immediate vicinity of the World Trade Center as far as several blocks away. And these are some of the parts of the aircraft. The seatbelt.
Parking pass and Metro card.
Wow, it was $290 on that. $847.
We have a breaking news story to tell you about. Apparently, a plane has just crashed into the World Trade Center here in New York City. It happened just a few moments ago.
Yep.
We have very little information available.
Papers from the World Trade Center, you can tell that they are burned.
More burned papers, handwritten notes.
Yep. Floppy disks. Computer diskettes.
Which, I mean, was the primary source of saving things.
Yep.
That I did.
All the broken glass. Wow. The metal fragment in the middle is, let's see. Basically, with the impact of hijacked Flight 11 into the North Tower, shattered glass and pieces of metal from the building fell to the streets below, killing at least one pedestrian and severely injuring others. Inside, on floors rapidly growing hot and filling with smoke, people broke windows in an effort to breathe fresh air.
We'll have the staging area.
This was the film that was done by those two brothers right here. This camera filmed the first plane hitting the Twin Towers. They were doing a documentary about the firefighters in New York City.
It's not much different from your camera.
A lot bigger. But it took video, or a videotape.
Yeah, that's what I meant.
Handheld radios.
Things that didn't work.
Basically a timeline, a long timeline.
Like minute by minute.
Yep. At 8:50 in Sarasota, Florida, he was notified.
And by he means George Bush.
George Bush. So now we're up to 8:52. Did you notice that the times appear as you're getting up close to it?
explosion in World Trade 1. That's the other building. It looks like a plane struck it on fire at about the 90th floor, and it's horrible. Bye.
Bye.
End of message. Message sent from an unknown number. Received September 11th at 9:02 a.m.
Eyeglasses from a store in the World Trade Center concourse.
We'll be in this tower for a while. It's not secure here.
End of message. Message 5 from an unknown number. Received September 11th at 8:59 a.m.
Okay, sir. If you get this message, there's been an explosion in World Trade 1. That's the other building. It looks like a plane struck it on fire at about the 90th floor.
And there's a series of photos that show Flight 175 crashing into the South Tower. Honey, if you come over here and see the video, the Burger King that we saw at the corner, there's that Burger King right here. I remember that footage, my gosh.
I remember watching that live. It is so scary.
Wow, the engine.
I remember that photo.
Do you?
It's part of the planes.
No.
That is.
That is. Oh, I've never seen this. On the subway. This is a lamppost fragment. After two hijacked aircraft crashed into the Twin Towers, debris plunged to the streets. Buildings and airplane fragments injured and killed pedestrians and damaged surrounding buildings. The upper part of this 19th century cast iron lamppost, typical of those still standing on streets in the financial district, was severed from its base. Elevator floor markers. I start crying again.
Oh, we don't have time right now.
Yeah, I know. Oh, this is stuff from the Pentagon. The stop clock.
That are on every wall in every office.
Wow.
Rolodexes.
Signs, clothes. Wow.
Airplane fragments.
Yep.
So there's Donald Rumsfeld.
What's that? Oh, Donald Rumsfeld. Oh yeah, he was helping. The fact that the coats have like burn marks on them. Wow. Okay, there was a trash receptacle. Oh, limestone pieces from the facade and column reinforcement.
Fire truck.
Oh, wow. Jeez. Wow. And this is when the South Tower collapsed.
Watching that live too.
My gosh. I remember that. I remember this photo. All the shoes. It's all dried blood. That blood had from her cut it blister if we didn't stand her high heels. Oh my gosh. This is I'll never forget that photo.
That's a famous one.
Oh, the backpack. This is another one I remember.
The dust.
All that thick dust.
There's a survivor.
Yep. Wow. Stopped at 8:50.
Mangled car remains.
Yep. Chief medical examiner. Wow. And then you have the emergency squad over here. And then you have the Port Authority Police Department. You got hose couplings here. Look at the helmet. It's completely just, it literally separated.
Yeah.
Oh, and then, yep. Yeah, 15 minutes.
You're a quarter of the way through the exhibit. Please return your audio guides.
We're almost there. Oh, wow.
Let's just kind of walk through.
Oh my gosh.
That's another column that's all twisted.
Yep.
Lots of personal effects.
Yeah, a lot of personal items. Ambulances. Holy cow. Fragment of the seal of New York City's mayor's Office of Emergency Management.
Bicycles.
I remember that. Yep, a whole bunch of bicycles. What's that? Oh, the flag. There was wow.
The famous photo of them hoisting up the flag.
It's right here. Wow. It's so tattered too.
Well, it was up there.
Yes. Oh, here's the model for it. This is before September 11th. Some memorabilia.
I mean,
God, it was on every postcard you could possibly think of.
the most famous.
Not famous, but iconic.
Yeah.
Oh, I would love to have that tie. Wow. And then this is the presentation model.
I mean, even the model is huge.
Jeez. Oh, this was the from the parking garage. Smoke stained shirt. The sponge that cleaned World Trade Center. Wow. Wow. Oh, that's the fragment. It does. This is the only piece recovered. I'm sorry.
Somebody's ring.
Yep. She wore as a memento of surviving the 93 attack. The ring was found with her remains in the wreckage of the Twin Towers on Christmas Eve 2001. Smith was the only employee of her firm, by then named Sidley Austin, Brown, and Wood, to die in the 9/11 attacks at the World Trade Center. And this is about the rise of Al Qaeda. Oh, totally missed whatever this was. This is rubble from the 1998 U.S. Embassy bombing in Tanzania. Wow. Jeez. We got about 12 minutes to go. The old laptop. This is the computer that belonged to Ramzi Youssef and booking photograph of him. He's the one that did the 93 bombing.
Definitely looks like an early 90s computer.
Oh, yes.
So this is kind of how the plot.
All came together. The Al Qaeda hijackers. This photo I'll never ever forget. Oh, this is a reproduction. Basically, this is one of the terrorists' boarding pass. There it goes. Oh yeah, you can see the pathways and how they just turned around. Wow. Oh my gosh. We are going to have to come back and do this again. Oh my gosh.
Front pages.
All front pages.
All front pages around the world.
Which I even have.
I remember this one, the San Francisco Examiner.
Bastards.
I remember that because there used to be a newspaper site that had front pages you would upload.
Yeah.
And I remember that one.
You visually remember that?
I remember that one.
All evidence bags.
I would have written the exact same one.
American flag recovered from inside the Pentagon. Yeah, we'll have to come here on the last one next time.
Yeah. I don't know why we thought that was a good idea.
I thought they were not going to kick us out.
I guess this isn't Disney.
No, I guess not.
Oh, a cross made out of beans.
I remember this. I was wondering where this was. I remember this. I have video of this when it was still in Ground Zero. Like literally, it just so happened that this is exactly how it was found. Wow.
All things that were left.
Baseball that was placed on the cross.
You want to see if we can find more live people, so you don't really think about it. It's not a job. You're not thinking about taking a rest. It's like
It was the top of the world.
Look at
Oh my gosh.
just all the dust on everything.
Chelsea Jeans Memorial. Dust, ash, and debris from the collapsed Twin Towers filled the interior of Chelsea Jeans, a retail store on Broadway near Fulton Street. Store owner David Cohen resolved to capture the moment in time by maintaining part of the store as it appeared after September 11th. This memorial, as seen by thousands, including rescue and recovery workers, people returning to work in the area, and those coming to Ground Zero to pay their respects. After a struggle to stay in business, the store closed in October of 2002. The New York Historical Society removed and preserved the memorial as documentary evidence. That is incredible. It's literally how it was. Wow. Wow. Yeah, we'll have to come in here again when it's not the last one. Look at this. Look at this. Yeah. Yeah. Wow.
I remember when they did that.
Beams of light.
Well, I was driving home from South Carolina.
Tribute and light.
And
Thank you.
I would drive up 95.
Mm-hmm.
And on.
Have a great night.
Hey, can you slow down so I can
Sorry.
talk?
Go ahead. Go ahead. Sorry.
I would drive up 95, and when I was in New Jersey, you could see it from New Jersey.
Oh,
the lights.
Yeah.
So when I was driving home Christmas of 2001, I saw that, and it was rough.
When did, because I think I remember seeing it. I remember seeing it either March of 2002 or something.
They had them up for a long time.
They did, because I remember being able to see them from Franklin Square. You could see them.
Yeah.
Also, interestingly enough, I've talked to friends that were still going to carry when during that day, and they said they could see the smoke from the third floor. So as we're coming up to the top floor again. There was a lot that we missed, only just because of time. Sorry guys. I totally do recommend, if you are in New York or visiting New York, if you do want to learn a little bit more about September 11th, its impact today. I would definitely want to say, come and check it out. Thank you so much. Even though we did pay for these, thank you so much for the 9/11 Memorial Museum for letting us come here. I don't think we're going to do any plugs because I feel like that would be really super inappropriate. But definitely come back next week. Oh, we're doing something a little bit more fun next week. Obviously, HHN is starting to come ramping up, so we're really super excited. And anyway, until next week, say goodbye, Emery.
Goodbye, Emery.
And so long, have a magical week, everyone.